Hi, I'm Shannon McGee. I'm a strategic business coach and NIA, Network and Action franchise owner here in the metropolitan Nashville area. And today I have Lee Wouters he's the Cellular Therapy Director of Operations for Blood Assurance. Thanks for joining me today, Lee.
Thank you, Shannon.
So tell me a little bit about how you got started with blood assurance.
Well, my clinical background is in stem cell transplant nursing. I worked on bone marrow transplant ICUs, and in 2016, the first cellular therapy was approved by the FDA, and in 2017, I had the privilege of getting to administer one of the first ones to a patient who had run out of options, and I had seen that scenario unfold many times before. Mortality rates in bone marrow transplant ICUs are statistically about 40% across the nation. So I kind of already known how that was going to play out. And this patient received a cellular therapy and walked out of the ICU about a month later. It was fairly miraculous.
Wow.
And I wanted to learn more about them from an academic standpoint and a clinical standpoint to see, what advances are being made in this field. How are these being developed? And the more I learned, the more interested I became, and one thing led to another, and I got an opportunity to work with Blood Assurance, who also saw the benefit and the efficacy of these cellular therapies in this growing industry, and said that they wanted to invest in being able to provide those services to their communities that they serve. And Blood Assurance is a community blood bank that's been in operation in the Tennessee area and surrounding states for over 50 years. And they wanted to leverage their capabilities as a community blood bank to advance cellular therapies and be able to be a resource to provide support to hospitals and clinicians that wanted to provide those services, but maybe didn't have all of the internal operational infrastructure needed to do that. So we have been building out our cell therapy program to be able to provide those resources to hospitals and clinicians who want to use those services. Things like therapeutic apheresis, cryopreservation, apheresis collection of mononuclear cells, which are the starting materials for most of these advanced cellular therapies. The collection of stem cells for stem cell transplants even. Most patients who need these types of therapies get referred to larger hospitals and systems because a local small town oncologist is not going to have the capabilities of collecting, processing, and administering that type of therapy, especially in an outpatient basis, or if they work at a regional medical center. So if you live in the Nashville area and you get a diagnosis that means that you are eligible for one of these therapies, then that's great. You can go to one of the large hospitals here. If you live in a rural area and you don't have the monetary means to live in Nashville basically while you get your therapy, then you're going to have to select from your options of what can I afford to do that's nearby, which isn't going to be the best therapy because it's not one of these cutting edge new cell therapies that I'm talking about. So we
Wow.
wanted to be able to provide the community members that we serve the ability to get those.
I love that. So from the very high clinical, medical standpoint, the doctors, the clinicians, folks, you said a lot of words that a lot of people are not going to understand what they mean unless they're going through it,
Right.
so I'm so glad you shared that. but in kind of layperson's terms, who are you looking to help, to connect with? How can we help you?
So one of the things that we do is we support research and development of cell therapies. It is a new and booming industry that is growing exponentially because the new discovery of these therapies, the more research that is done, the more proof there is that the efficacy, the effectiveness of these therapies is so much better than traditional therapies, and chemotherapy regimens, things like that for oncology and autoimmune patients. So a great reference for me would be if you know someone who has lupus, if you know someone who has an autoimmune disease like lupus, like rheumatoid arthritis, type 1 diabetes, myositis, anything that is an autoimmune disease that is of autoimmune origin. I have researchers who come directly to me, and I deal with all the science talk with them. But one of the things we do is using those clinical apheresis services, I can provide those researchers with what they need to progress their research faster. And that's one of our commitments is to our community is that, hey, everyone is recognizing that these therapies are amazing and are better than other therapies. And we can shorten the timeline of making those available to people and getting them through this R&D process by getting researchers what they need faster. So that's
I love that.
one of the things that I can always use is meeting people who have autoimmune diseases who are willing to donate like white blood cells.
It's interesting because it seems like everybody knows somebody, and people and families who are suffering want to find ways to give back, and they can feel very helpless. And so the idea of you're asking for white blood cells so that we can fight this is pretty amazing. And I know that for a lot of us, it's like, how do we get past all the technical details, the clinical details, and all of that to just say, hey, this, and this. If you know somebody, please, we can help. Besides that, besides folks donating, I believe there's a couple of other ways that they can help, blood assurance. If you'd like to share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are the exclusive blood supplier in the Nashville area, for example, to all of the HCA hospitals. We're the blood supplier for Vanderbilt. Anyone who needs a unit of blood in those hospitals, it comes from us. We supply blood to over 75 hospitals, and in the Tennessee and surrounding areas. And if your business, if you come into one of our donor centers and donate blood, then you're saving 3 lives right there. That's 3 from one blood donation. Then 3 different components can be processed from that, and 3 different lives can be saved. If your business hosts a blood drive, then as many people as you get to come in and donate times 3 lives are saved. And it's hard to, when you say that, you're kind of like, sure, that's a great pitch. I've transfused at the bedside as a clinician. I think it's a little over 5,000 units of blood. And when someone needs blood, there's no replacement. You can't just give them some fluid and hope for the best. When you need blood, and there's no replacement. So the immediate and dire ask is always to, hey, host a blood drive. This is the best way that you can directly positively impact your community, because we're the backstop for those tragic events, the worst days of somebody's life. We're what's keeping that from being even more tragic. And you're just coming in and donating blood, that, like I said, it saves three people who are going through the worst day of their lives. You're gonna be your donation is that backstop for making that a more tragic day.
You know, it's not just the importance of giving. You said something, and I don't think people realize it. You know, there's another name in the marketplace that everybody knows for giving blood that does blood drives.
Right.
But I don't think people realize that like they just assume when they're giving blood, it stays local. And I perfectly understand that there are needs everywhere. And so if we can help, we just need to help. But I know there's also people that want to give back to the communities that they live in. And I think it's really important to get the message out that what you do, because as you said, the donations stay here, they help the folks here. You are the local provider. And I don't know that people are as familiar with your name. So, Lee, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
You can reach me my email, LEEWOUTERS at bloodassurance.org. You can get me on my cell phone, 615-587-3636. And, reach out about blood drives, about, hey, I know someone who has lupus, about, hey, I just have questions about cell therapy, or, hey, call me up and say, hey, how's your mom and them?
Awesome. Well, Lee, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for helping, us understand more about what you do and this cutting edge technology that's going to save lives.
Yeah, absolutely.